Realtree's Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Cabela's, Easton Arrows, Frigid Forage, Fuse, Grizzly Coolers, Hoyt, Hoyman Tree Saws, Muddy Outdoors, Nikon, Ozonics, Redneck Blinds, Rocket Broadheads, RTP Outdoors, Trophy Rock, Spot Hog Releases, Wilderness Athlete, Viking Solutions, and Realtree.
It's January 8th. Due to my work schedule, this will probably be my last hunt of the season. Yeah, it's been a tough season, that's for sure. We started off the season with a few bucks that we were really looking forward to going after this fall. One of them was a nice buck that we called Casper, that we had a lot of pictures of this summer. He ended up getting killed during early muzzleloader season by a neighbor, so going on from there, we were down to just a few bucks that we were looking for. One of the other big deer we were looking for was a deer we called Crabs. We were getting a lot of pictures of him early in the season, and he ended up getting shot by another bow hunter right around the first week of November. So from then on, it's just been a struggle. Probably one of the big positives that did come from this archery season this year was we were looking for a deer this year that we called Short Brow. As many of you know, we've had a lot of history with this deer and found his match set of sheds this past spring. And he was one of the deer that was at the top of our hit list going into this year. And we just couldn't seem to find him this summer. And what we realized later on was that he had been there all summer. We just didn't recognize him. He didn't grow the rack that we were expecting, and it was a little bit shaped different. Because he's a 5-year-old deer this year. We've got pictures of him the last few years, and his rack really didn't change a whole lot, so I think that's kind of what threw us off this year. But he got really busted up in November, and we actually had an encounter with him out of the redneck just before Thanksgiving, and it appeared that he shed what was left of his rack, which was basically just a little bit up from the base. So he's off the hit list for this year, but it was definitely nice to confirm and know that he is still around, so he'll probably be right at the top of our hit list going into next season. Going into gun season, we really didn't have a whole lot of hope just due to the pressure that we have around us. My dad was, however, able to put his tag on a doe on a great hunt that he had. The snow was really coming down hard that night, which kind of made for a cool hunt. So that was at least a positive there, that we were able to take a doe out. I was trying to find a buck that I wanted to target. We had one buck that showed up on camera just after gun season. He was a nice mature buck. He had kind of a messed up right side, but I'd have been real happy to put my tag on him. But there were some coyote hunters that also had permission to hunt the same farm, and with them driving around, pretty much, I think, moved him out of the area, because he stopped showing up on camera soon after we had noticed the coyote hunters on our trail cameras. So the spot I'm set up tonight is on this ridge of cut corn. There's big timber draws on both sides here, and we actually saw a lot of deer on the walk in, and it's only about 2:30, so we had some freezing rain and a little system moved through yesterday, and now we just got blue, clear skies and high pressure. So the deer were up on their feet last night, so I'm expecting to have even better luck tonight. So gonna get settled in here and we'll see what happens. So far all we saw was just a little button buck, but with it being a little bit warmer tonight, they might come out here right at last light, so if we see anything else, we'll show it to you. Otherwise, probably do another episode yet before the season's over, but if I can't, if I don't end up making it out one of the next 2 mornings, this will pretty much be a wrap for the 2017-2018 season, so thanks for watching Midwest Whitetail.
Well, it's about 4:15, and not quite as action-packed as we thought it would be to this point, but we haven't seen any deer. It's super cold. It's high winds, but it was windy yesterday and cold yesterday when the deer were, per our cameras, right over here. So the kind of unique part of this set, though, is this field crest just to our east here. So really, there could be a bunch of deer, maybe 150 yards away, and we wouldn't be seeing them right now until they work up on top of that crest in this way. So I still think we'll see deer. We still got quite a bit of time, but just not, I figured by this point we'd definitely see a couple groups working through to get to the big food. So we're gonna keep sticking this out. It's the last hunt of the year. So we're just kind of sitting in here already game planning and talking about next year, of course. So,
well, like Jim said, there's no deer movement yet, but the last hour has given us a lot of time to reflect on how our season has gone, and overall it was a pretty good year for us. Of course, we had our highs and we had our lows, but anybody's going to have that during the deer season. It's just inevitable. But just to think, 3.5 months ago, we were breaking ground on a new plot, putting in a new redneck, and just getting excited to kick off the year. And it feels like in a blink of an eye, here we are, last day of the season. We got literally an hour. But fingers crossed that angle iron or Hugh will come out here and give us an opportunity and cap off the season. But overall, it's been fun. Jim and I have had a blast, and look forward to next year and doing it all over again.
up having quite a bit of action last night. Came a little later than we thought it would, but I guess we're kind of chalking that up to that wind and then all that snow coming in, which obviously we got several inches of snow last night into the evening. But all the deer, like we thought they would, ended up working to us from the bedding on their way to the big food. With about 15 minutes of light left, we saw a big group of does coming with the lead doe. I think she was in the front. We call it Floppy, and I think it's her left ear is just always hangs down. And every time we've seen her, either on trail camera or when we're in the stand, Hugh is in the area or not far behind her. So right away I said, hey, here's Floppy, and Matt said, hey, get your bow, because you know he's going to be back there. And sure enough, a few minutes later, here came the buck group, and Hugh was in that pack. All those bucks worked into about 70 yards as close as they got. Hugh tangled up with a good 10-pointer that showed up over the last month that we're real excited to see what he turns into next year. But they kind of sparred in front of us for a little while, maybe kind of, you know, figuring out that pecking order or whatnot, since he's a relatively new buck. And then eventually they moved back to the west to the big food like we were talking. So it was really fun. It was a fun hunt, great way to cap off the season. We got to see a bunch of deer and one of our target bucks, you know, right out in front of us at 70 yards. So it's bittersweet, like I said. I wasn't overly frustrated, I guess, that we didn't get a shot at him. It was the last day of the season, so as long as he makes it through the winter and survives, you know, roadkill type stuff, he should be right back here, and this is his core area for us next year. We'll be excited this winter here in spring to start looking for sheds and really trying to develop our game plan to get back after these guys next fall. With Hugh being at one of the top of the bucks as of right now, we're hoping he kind of sticks around and puts on some more size, and should be excited to see what these bucks do for next season. So excited to get into the off season here and start it all over again.